Boxing Club, Elli Grapp. And her opponent in the blue corner, representing Katana Boxing, Cassandra.
Very special guest today, Miss Elli Grapp. Welcome to Happy Hour with Lito. I am your host. I got a very special guest today, Miss Elli Grapp. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you got it.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on and everything. So first and foremost, I'm a big mental health person. You know what I mean? So how have you been able to hold up and everything during this whole pandemic?
Oh man, yeah, that's a great question. I think last year, right when this was all getting started, and it kind of got out that this might last all summer. I was like, oh crap! Like, how am I going to handle this being inside all this time?
Mhm.
And I don't think anybody expected it was going to last this long. So yeah, it's been a challenge. I mean, I think everybody kind of has had to cope in their own ways. One of my coping has been able to dive into boxing and focusing on my goals and how can I pursue those. And sometimes that looks a little bit different. We all kind of got things put on pause, but I think it got us a chance to perfect our crafts and think about what we really want in life. So it's been good, honestly.
I agree. I was supposed to get married last year.
Oh man.
Had to push it out into this year, and now we're running into more problems.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's crazy. I live in Ohio, of course, but we're trying to get married. My fiance is from the East Coast. She's from Philadelphia.
Okay.
So we're trying to get married, like in between, here and Philadelphia. So Virginia area, Virginia Beach. She wants a beach wedding.
Right.
And that's just turning into a nightmare.
Yeah, because travel by itself is already hard.
Travel, and then they have, every state has their own, rules and regulations as far as to how many people can be around, and
right.
It's
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, but I mean, that's again, it makes you think about what's important. Is it the wedding and getting to have everybody there celebrating y'all, or y'all just want to tie the knot and keep it going? So
yeah,
it makes you think about what you really want and need out of it.
Yeah, we got a lot of. I mean, we've talked about this, constantly, but it's always a you know, something, because you want the wedding that you want, of course, but
Mhm.
if COVID won't allow you to have it, you know, we got to do what we got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I know.
For
Well,
sure.
hopefully, I mean, they're talking about the vaccine now rolling out to everybody by May, right? So maybe it won't be
That's what they say, you know.
right. We all crossing our fingers. I haven't gotten it yet, but
It's
here we
crazy.
are.
So
Mhm.
for people who, you know, who may not know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm Ellie. I'm an amateur boxer and live in Omaha, Nebraska right now. So been grinding away out here. Had my first couple of fights out here, and you know, I work in the nonprofit scene, so that's a big part of my life too. And I have getting close to a 2-year-old son, which is crazy. I feel like he's still my baby, but he's definitely a little rambunctious toddler now. So
I see. He
yeah.
looks like he wants to fight, maybe.
Oh yeah, no, he sees. I guess he's seen enough. I promise. I feel like I haven't had him around the boxing that much, but he picks up. I mean, those kids copy everything that they see. So yeah, I got him little 2-ounce boxing gloves so he can run around and be like mom every once in a while. But yeah, I got to make sure he doesn't take that to daycare.
Right. So boxing, you know,
Yeah.
which to me is probably more dangerous than MMA.
Yeah.
It's probably ranks up there with football.
Yeah, in
You
the
know what I
ways that
mean?
count, right? I mean, like you might get some nasty injuries in MMA, like the kind of gruesome ones that make
Yeah,
you cringe. The boxing side, though, like you said, I mean, you're getting hits to your like vital organs and your brain multiple times, and it adds up over the course of a career. So yeah, in the ways that count, I think it is more dangerous. Yeah.
for sure. So what made you pick the gloves up?
Getting back in shape, and that's as exciting as it was at the time. You know, I just got to a point. I was mostly in college and focusing on all that, and then like 20 pounds later, and you're like, God damn, like I need to get going again. And so that was out in while I was living in Washington D.C. I started boxing, and at first it was just for fitness, and then I think somebody kind of let it get to my head that I could potentially, you know, compete. And I was like, hey, yeah, that sounds badass. Like I want to try that. And so I started training a little bit more seriously and much more seriously once I moved to Texas. And that's a whole new flavor down south when you get to start fighting down there. Like they don't play about fighting. So
Hmm.
that was really when I started kind of getting serious about it, and moved up here, had my baby, and got back into it.
So okay, so you say you lived in Texas. Okay,
Yeah, I was in Dallas for not even a year, but yeah, I was training down there for a while.
cool. So did you fall in love with it at that time, like after just like, you know, just training, trying to get in shape, and then you just like, yo, I'm gonna try this out.
Yeah, no, I think, well, okay, and then there's also the aspect of it, like for some reason, anytime somebody tells me like I can't do something or shows me that like there's some type of doubt, like I have to prove them wrong. Like I have to do it.
Hmm.
And so I kind of got that feeling when I was out in DC, like they made me wait for so long to start sparring, and then dudes would walk up in the gym like no experience and they'd throw them into sparring, and I'm just like, what the hell? Like, and that I think that anger kind of fueled me to push into proving myself in the sport. And yeah, definitely, like there's all the layers, like you get to push yourself and you get to this point where you feel like so frustrated and defeated, and then you just push a little bit harder and you get past that point. I think that is why I fell in love with boxing, is getting pushed to your limits and just going a little bit further. There's no other feeling like that.
That's dope. That's dope. Because I do believe, you know, I like MMA too. I'm a boxing head too. I love
Yeah.
all full contact sports.
Uh-huh.
And you know, women do get disrespected a lot when it comes to, you know, boxing and, you know,
Sure.
but in MMA, it's kind of turning around because, you know, there's some of,
Yeah.
you know, you got the Amanda Nunes, who is like,
Mhm.
she's a 2 division champion.
Right.
And, you know, she's also the first gay champion in UFC
Hmm.
history. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
she created a lot of waves, you know, in fighting period. So, you know, it's
No, I'll
also
give it to the MMA folks because I think they really just want to see a good fight, and
Mhm.
it doesn't matter as much. Whereas I feel like boxing is a little bit more like there's a little bit more depth to the boys club in boxing that you have to break through. So yeah, but MMA totally like I mean, women had to push through too in that side, but I feel like once people recognize like those women are in there doing their thing and stuff, like they really gave them a chance, I feel like.
that's true. Yeah, boxing, at least on the guy side, is turning into I think the promoters are taking over. It's more about the money now. You know what I mean? Like we're not going to get the fights that we really want to see.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's
Whereas
crazy.
I think MMA, they really do like, they pair people up because these are the best people and people want to see them fight. And it seems like it happens a little bit more easily on that side. Whereas like, I mean, boxing, like everybody wants to see Crawford and Spence fight, but that's not going to happen.
That's
not going to
crazy to
happen
me. That
for
is so crazy to me.
years. Once they're already both past their prime, you know, we ain't going to see that fight, I don't think.
Same thing that happened with Floyd and Pacquiao. We were supposed to see them in their prime.
Right.
And I mean, I still think that they were not. I mean, come on. It still was a good fight.
Yeah.
You know, the fight that we could have got.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Right. It just puts everything on hold so much longer when you get into the mess of the business side of it. So yeah, no, it's like that in boxing, I think more so.
That's crazy. So y'all wear headgear in amateur, right? In the amateurs?
Yep, absolutely. Yes.
So how do you feel about the headgear? Because, you know, they said that's even more dangerous than, you know, getting hit without, you know, without
Yeah, well, that's what some people say. I disagree. I mean, I like the headgear. It's once you get used to it, I mean, it feels at first like claustrophobic and like you can't see stuff and whatever, but you're absorbing a little bit of that impact more broadly rather than taking it all right on the forehead or whatever it is. So I'm all for it. Whatever science is telling me is safer, I'm all about.
Right. So are there any like female fighters you look up to right now?
Yeah. I would say Katie Taylor is all the way up there for me. I mean, she just, as far as technical speed, power, I feel like she's just got it all. So I aspire to that. Watching Clarissa Shields, I mean, like her attitude and confidence in the ring is crazy. And
Clarissa's a beast. So is Katie.
Yeah. And she's fighting this Friday, right? So I'm looking forward to that. And I would say Alicia Baumgartner is up there for me too. I don't think she's getting a lot of recognition yet, but I feel like she's gonna kind of rock that division.
I agree.
Yeah.
So how many fights do you have to have, you know, to be declared a pro, like before you can go a pro?
Oh, you know, you can go pro at any point. It's just what, you know, when is it smart for you to go pro, right? So some people, they know they might not have like much of a chance in the pros, but they just want to make money doing it. And so they're going to turn pro as soon as they feel like they can remotely handle it. For women, it's a little sooner, I think, because it's harder for us to get experience in the amateurs. Men, I mean, there's just so many more people in every weight class and stuff, but women in the amateurs, you really have to travel and to find people that are in your age, weight, experience range. So it's just a little harder. And so you usually see women that will turn pro after like, I don't know, anywhere from like 10 fights to there's some women that really do have people that have been traveling around with them, and they might have like upwards of 50 fights or so when they go pro. So it really just depends. But
gotcha. So right now you're undefeated.
Yes,
2-0
fights, but undefeated.
Yeah, whatever. It's still undefeated. You know, you could have lost that first one and be like, "Listen, I'm done." You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? You didn't do that. You sticking with it, which is awesome. So when is your next fight?
So I'm crossing my fingers for March 27th. There's a event happening in Des Moines. So hopefully then, but if not, the next thing I'm really hopeful about, there's a all female tournament down in Atlanta, and that's in beginning of June, which is not too far away now, crazy enough. So
Yeah, you're right. That it's coming right around the corner. Okay,
mhm.
cool. So
Yeah,
you,
but it's hard.
yeah,
They don't you don't find out that you got fights until like maybe a couple weeks before the event in amateurs. So, you know, you cross your fingers and you know which fights maybe you have more of a chance of matching up with somebody, but you just kind of have to wait and see. So
they say what they say, stay ready so you don't have to get
yeah,
ready.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's hard to get ready in 2 weeks. So
Right. So pre-fight, the day of, right?
mhm.
You got to get focused. What song you
Yeah.
putting on?
Oh God. I like to listen to a lot of soul, honestly, to like kind of calm me and center me. So I'll listen to a lot of like Stevie Wonder, India.Arie, and stuff like that the day of, and then kind of as we're heading into like the final hour or so, like I'm trying to kind of get a little bit more hyped. So I'm playing probably more like old school hip hop and stuff like that, but just something to kind of get me in that tough zone.
Mm, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it
So
changes up though.
it changes. Okay. So you say it changes up every,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah, it just depends. And usually I can't even remember which songs I was on at the time for these last couple of fights, but if I find one that really does like hype me up, I'll just loop that one, like
Mhm.
just loop it. So yeah, music is a big part though. I feel like getting you in the right mental frame.
Yeah, for sure. In all sports,
Mm-hmm.
because whenever, we play basketball, that yeah, if you had a game that day, you had to listen to something crazy,
Uh-huh.
leading up to the
Yep.
game. Or,
Yeah.
it's like you said, you choose something that's going to calm you down. It's
Yep.
going to make you, make you better.
Yeah,
So
you can get too hyped too soon in the day. Like you really have to like stay as relaxed as you can up until like the moment where you want to start building that energy up. Otherwise, like you just feel so tired
that
by the time you get there.
adrenaline dump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. I want to dump that adrenaline while I'm in the ring. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, have you ever thought about doing MMA?
yeah, I've thought about it. Um, it's not what I'm in love with at the moment. I love to learn any type of fighting though and stuff. So if if I have the opportunity to learn like jujitsu or learn other martial arts, I'm all about it. I'm not against it. I won't say I'll never do it. I love boxing. I love getting to like focus on that. It's just so technical, so tight, so yeah, you get to really focus in on one specific craft. MMA, I mean, it's just and I will be honest, the injuries in MMA just look so gross to me. Like imagining myself in an arm bar, I'm just like, ooh, no,
They look
no.
gross, but like you're able to come back from that a lot quicker. It seems like, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I guess, but it's just hard for me to get out of my head, like watching somebody snap their shin bone on
Oh
another
yeah,
man's shin, you know?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's hard to look at. That's hard to look at.
yeah. I've seen a few fights where first time I ever seen that Anderson Silva
Mm-hmm.
against Chris Weidman, and
Right.
I feel like he had to know that it was because he was just leg kicking him, and then
Yeah.
finally Chris said, "I'm just gonna check one." So he lifted
Right.
his leg. He lifted his leg, and then all of a
Ooh,
sudden, I mean, it was just
little
like,
tiny
yeah, his leg was
skinny
just doing
shin.
this. Like
Oh, it's so bad. I
I said,
know.
oh man, he kicked it, and then he
Yep.
fell back because he tried to step back in it.
Uh-huh.
That was the
Ugh.
nastiest thing I had ever seen.
Yeah. See that I have a hard time. Again, I know that like that's a better injury to have than multiple concussions, but I just can't like stomaching that idea is just gross to me.
You're right. I mean, and that happens too a lot in basketball too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
guys, for whatever reason, they come down on someone's foot
Yeah.
the wrong
Uh-huh.
way, and then they snaps.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Your body
it's
can only take so much. So
yeah. I was only asking you that question because I know Holly Holm, she used to box. I mean,
right.
that's what she did, and then all of a sudden, she took what she learned in boxing,
Yep.
went to MMA, and she dominated for a while, even became champion.
Yeah, I thought that was the coolest, like watching her up against Ronda Rousey and just ducking under it, and like just being able to use boxing really in MMA and seeing that work against like somebody that was as respected as Ronda Rousey. I feel like that was so cool to me. And yeah, I mean, I get like that the itch of that challenge of like, could what I do like stop somebody that knows a different martial art or something? Yeah, I get that itch to try that out. But yeah, I mean, I love boxing. I'll just leave it there. I love boxing.
If you start to train just to stay in shape, though,
might as well, right? But I will say too, it's good experience sparring people that are in the MMA side, because they move so different. So boxers, I think we all kind of train to some degree to a similar rhythm and stuff. And once you get in front of a MMA person and spar them in boxing, you get a feel of like a different, like how to fight somebody that moves completely differently. So that's been good experience. I'll say that. That's
true. So have you done like, I know some boxers do things like take dance classes and stuff like that for footwork. Do you do anything like that?
I'm horrible dancing, which is horrible because I know like some of the best fighters are good dancers. That might just tell you something about me, but I'm not.
Not all of them. Like Floyd, have you seen Floyd Mayweather? Come on, I've seen it. It's
that's true.
But that's not true. That's not necessarily true.
So no, I do not dance. I do other stuff like I mean, like I'll throw yoga in there every once in a while, but it's nothing extra around it, like for footwork necessarily. It's just not my talent. Cool. God has not blessed me with the talent of dancing necessarily.
That's all right. It's all right. So I was just thinking also too, like if my fiance told me that she was fighting, I don't know what I'd do. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so how does your family feel about you being in this sport?
Yeah. I think my dad has the most trouble with it, thinking about it from like a long-term perspective. I know he's concerned about the whole concussion side of things. My mom is the person that doesn't want to show up to any of my fights and will tell me like she's not coming, and then we'll be there anyways and taking videos, and you can hear her in the background like, get her, Ellie. So it's just hilarious. Like I think obviously people are concerned. It's a sport that is gruesome, and you can get seriously hurt. So I get the concern, but I also know my family knows that I love it and that I'm passionate about it, and are more so happy to see me happy,
Right. And that's all that matters, really. I mean, your happiness and especially right now, and what we're in, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like everybody needs to be doing something.
Absolutely. You got to find what makes you happy and stick to it.
For sure. So when you were a kid, did you play sports like when you were a kid?
I did. So when I was a kid, I played a little bit of everything. I was more like when I was in high school, I played volleyball and stuff like that. My dad and grandpa and all of them were wrestlers. So they always wanted my brother to be a wrestler. My brother is not like, that's not his jam at all. And like, I remember like now looking back, I'm like, y'all should have seen like that. I would have loved that, but it just wasn't even like a consideration. Women didn't wrestle, or the women that did wrestle, it was like the freak show thing, and like nobody liked it. Like, and now you got, I think, more women in it and that are like showing some respect in the sport, but it just wasn't something that was an option for me at the time. So, but yeah,
wrestling is in your genes. It's in your genes,
I guess. So, maybe we all have to try doing some MMA.
Yeah, for sure. So how long did it take you to find a gym that, that you were comfortable with?
Yeah, that is hard because, again, I feel like most gyms that I've come into, it takes a long time. I feel like it's, as a woman, to prove yourself and get some respect to be taken seriously, like I want to fight kind of thing. When I was in Dallas, I just kind of was lucky to stumble on a good gym and a coach that took care of me there. He always called me Little Mama down there. So he was great to me, and like took me seriously, and like saw me shadowboxing and stuff, and just showing up every day grinding, and told me like, okay, you're on the team, like you got to be here this time every day. And I went for it and did it that way. So when I moved up here, it took a little longer to kind of find people that I gelled with on a coaching level. But I really feel like the spot I'm at now, like, is challenging me, and I'm around people that are better than me and pushing me to be better. And just, I don't know, finding people that advocate for you is, I think, the hardest thing to do. And I was lucky to run into and just kind of by chance meet Houston Alexander when I moved here. And again, I don't know the MMA scene like that, so I didn't really know who he was at the time, and but got to know him.
That guy was crazy.
Right, yeah, as I've come to find out. But but he has been such an advocate for me and hooking me up with the right people in Omaha. And so I think that's important, to find people that you trust, that can get you hooked up with the right people. Because especially once you've gotten to a level where people recognize like you're not bad and like you could do good on their team or whatever, you run into people that maybe don't have the best intentions or anything. So it's good to have people that you trust, that can kind of point to people that they know are good.
So is it a MMA gym, or is it everything? They do everything in there?
So the place I'm at now is Jackson's Boxing, and they are just boxing at Jackson's, but that coach also works with a lot of MMA people here too. So I will get to, I'm just now figuring this out, but I'm gonna be training in a facility as well where they do MMA. So maybe every once in a while I'll dip off into training and some MMA stuff, but I'm mostly focused, I'm blinders on for boxing. So whatever's gonna make me better in that world is what I'm doing.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Last question. So what's a typical day of training for you?
Typical day of training would be, so lately it's been at night. We show up at the gym at like 7, and then you get ready, do your sit-ups, push-ups, all that stuff, jumping rope, shadow boxing, footwork drills. We're doing bag work, like probably about like 9 rounds on the bags, about mitt work with the coaches. And that is like, that's my favorite, but it's also like the most frustrating is mitt work, because you're training yourself to react, and it's all, you kind of like memory. Have to let go of your thinking, and just let your body react to stuff. So it feels good, but it's also frustrating while you're getting the hang of it. But and then sparring a couple times a week. So we just sparred last night, and I'm feeling a little
sore.
My face is a little sore today. I got caught a couple times last night, so. But yeah, we head out of the gym usually like around 9:30 at night. So yeah, it's a little draining, but just trying to stay on top of it. Otherwise, like if I can hit the gym on my own and get some cardio in, and keep on top of what I've figured out is trying to be well-rounded with strength and any functional fitness that I can do on the side to just help translate into power and speed in the ring.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did Houston show you any of his fights? Did you see any of them?
Oh yeah, I've seen Houston's fights. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah. And I've had to spar Houston. And of course he did not go 100%, right. Obviously.
Right, of course.
But like 20% of Houston Alexander is still a lot. Yeah. And I felt it right on my forehead. But it was actually, I'll say, it was like probably the best thing that could have prepared me for my first fight. I sparred him maybe like a couple weeks before that, and he just like let me have it, like to the face, to the body, like shit hurt. And after it though, like I didn't give up. So I knew at the end of that, like I was like, okay, like I'm gonna be able to handle a 150-pound girl, no problem.
Right. He was helping you with your confidence.
Absolutely, yeah. So sometimes it pays to get beat up a little bit.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I mean, when I first seen him in the UFC, I mean, he was just knocking people out, and then I was like, dang.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's he'll tell you too, if you didn't already talk to him about it, but that all the fights that happened before he even got to the UFC,
yeah,
like people don't even know the half of it. So yeah, he's an animal in the ring. So
for sure.
Huge, I guess, you know.
So I want to thank you for, you know what I mean, giving me the time and coming on today and everything. You got anything you want to promote or?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I so appreciate every time I get to kind of share a little bit about myself and kind of plug women's boxing. If anybody wants to follow me, I'm on Instagram at Elli Grapp, ELLIANNGRAPP. And that's where you'd find out about any upcoming fights or anything like that. So otherwise, yeah, thank you so much. And hope it's been a good podcast for your listeners as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. I know they're going to love this, especially the women, you know what I mean? So you're actually the first woman that I've had. So
hey,
yeah,
that's awesome. We'll get some more on here.
Yeah, for sure. Not that bad. For sure. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you everybody for listening. This is Happy Hour with Lito. That's Elli Grapp. Y'all better watch out for her. She coming.
Absolutely. I'm coming. That's right.